The House of Representatives has just witnessed the largest bipartisan revolt against a sitting president in modern American history. A total of 140 lawmakers, including 62 members of the president's own party, signed an extraordinary joint resolution demanding the immediate commencement of impeachment proceedings against Donald Trump. The resolution cites what the signatories describe as clear and convincing evidence of criminal abuse of power that poses an existential threat to the constitutional order. This is not symbolic messaging. This is not political posturing designed to fade within a news cycle. It is the largest cross-party coalition ever assembled to demand the impeachment of a sitting president triggered by a bombshell report released by the Department of Justice Inspector General documenting systematic obstruction of justice, witness tampering, and destruction of evidence across multiple federal investigations. When 62 lawmakers from a president's own party publicly declare the evidence incontrovertible, the political foundation supporting that presidency has not merely cracked, it has shattered. What triggered this unprecedented bipartisan uprising? The catalyst was a 140-page Inspector General report released Wednesday afternoon, the product of a months-long investigation mandated by Congress and conducted independently of political appointees. According to the report, Donald Trump personally directed at least 11 separate instances of obstruction of justice. These included ordering the deletion of subpoenaed communications from secure government servers, directing executive branch officials to provide false testimony to congressional investigators, and engaging in direct witness intimidation. Sources who reviewed classified annexes of the report state that the evidence includes time-stamped server logs showing mass deletions occurring within hours of subpoenas being served, recorded phone calls in which Trump allegedly threatened witnesses, sworn testimony from 7 White House officials who directly witnessed obstruction. This is not another impeachment effort divided along partisan lines. Constitutional scholars have described it as the most severe institutional crisis since Watergate, with evidence so extensively documented that even Trump's closest congressional allies were unable to defend it. Tensions had been building since September 2024, when the Inspector General began investigating obstruction allegations stemming from protected whistleblower disclosures across multiple executive agencies. But everything escalated on Wednesday, January 22nd, when the report, titled Investigation into Alleged Obstruction of Congressional Oversight and Federal Investigations, was formally released. The report details a sustained pattern of conduct spanning from August 2024 through January 2025, involving multiple federal probes, including the classified documents investigation, inquiries related to January 6th, and congressional investigations into financial conflicts of interest. The scope and sourcing of the evidence are what make the report explosive. The Inspector General conducted 87 interviews under oath, reviewed more than 45,000 pages of documents, including emails, text messages, and secure server logs, and obtained recorded phone conversations through court-authorized surveillance. The report explicitly states that its findings are not based on hearsay or partisan interpretation, but on corroborated sworn testimony, forensic digital records, and legally obtained audio recordings. One section details events on October 15, 2024. Just 3 hours after Congress served a subpoena seeking communications related to classified document handling, server logs show that 847 emails were permanently deleted from secure government servers. The White House IT director testified under oath that the president's chief of staff ordered the deletions and instructed staff to ensure the data could not be recovered. This was not a dispute over executive privilege or record retention policy. It was alleged destruction of subpoenaed evidence, the emergency meeting that changed everything. Within 6 hours of the report's release, Representative Liz Cheney convened an emergency closed-door meeting in the Rayburn House office building. 83 lawmakers attended, 38 Republicans and 45 Democrats. According to multiple participants, the 4-hour meeting was the most consequential gathering of House members since the days following January 6th. Representative Cheney opened by projecting key excerpts from the report and stating that failure to act would make Congress complicit in the collapse of its own oversight authority. Representative Adam Kinzinger, who had opposed both prior impeachments, reportedly addressed the room next. He acknowledged his previous votes but stated that this case was fundamentally different, emphasizing that the Inspector General is a nonpartisan career official and that the evidence was documented, time-stamped, and corroborated. That intervention altered the tone of the meeting. By late evening, a bipartisan group drafted a joint resolution calling for immediate impeachment proceedings. The resolution was publicly released just after midnight, bearing the signatures of 140 House members, including 62 Republicans. The language of the resolution is unusually direct. It states that impeachment is not a political choice, but a constitutional obligation when a president obstructs justice, tampers with witnesses, and destroys subpoenaed evidence. Attached to the resolution is a separate statement signed by all 62 Republican members, declaring that their action was taken not as political opposition, but as fulfillment of their constitutional duty, the evidence driving Republican defections. According to lawmakers who signed the resolution, 3 categories of evidence proved decisive. First, forensic deletion logs. The Inspector General report includes DHS Cyber Division analysis confirming that subpoenaed emails were deliberately and permanently deleted within hours of service under direct orders. Second, recorded witness intimidation. The report documents multiple recorded phone calls in which Trump allegedly threatened witnesses. One partially transcribed call captures Trump warning a potential witness that cooperation would end their career and reputation. Third, financial inducements. Treasury Department analysts identified $7.8 million in payments from Trump-controlled accounts to legal defense funds for key witnesses shortly after they refused to cooperate with investigators. The report characterizes these transactions as consistent with witness tampering through financial inducement. When combined, lawmakers concluded the evidence formed a complete and systematic pattern of obstruction. Why this moment is different from previous impeachments: Trump survived 2 prior impeachments through partisan loyalty. That protection has now collapsed. This effort differs fundamentally in scale, sourcing, and substance. The evidence comes from an independent inspector general, not partisan committees. It involves criminal obstruction, not policy disputes or rhetoric. And it has produced the largest bipartisan impeachment coalition in American history. Speaker Mike Johnson now faces an extraordinary dilemma. Allowing impeachment proceedings to advance would likely result in a bipartisan impeachment vote, fundamentally legitimizing the process. Blocking it risks revolt within his own caucus and accusations of enabling obstruction. Trump, meanwhile, faces an impossible defense posture. Denials contradict sworn testimony. Claims of executive authority collide with recorded threats and forensic evidence. Attacks on the Inspector General undermine an institution historically respected by both parties. Legal scholars have described the case as more thoroughly documented than Watergate. Former officials note that conduct like this would result in felony charges for any other citizen, the broader stakes. This is not only about Donald Trump. If a president can destroy evidence, threaten witnesses, and financially influence testimony without facing impeachment, then congressional oversight becomes meaningless and the rule of law collapses. Future presidents of any party would learn that obstruction carries no consequence. That precedent would be fatal to the constitutional system. Right now, the largest bipartisan coalition ever assembled has demanded impeachment based on documented evidence of criminal obstruction. The report has been referred to the House Judiciary Committee. Pressure on leadership is intensifying by the hour. What happens next will determine whether impeachment remains a real constitutional safeguard or a dead letter. The evidence is documented. The coalition is assembled, the constitutional test is underway, and the outcome will define the limits of presidential power for generations to come.